we're going to talk about switch statements now. Switch statements are much, much more flexible in C# than they are in C++. In C++, you can write a switch statement the same way that you can in C#, but there are a couple of differences. So let's go ahead and write this out. So we already have our num, we're prompting for a number, and let's go ahead and switch this. So switch, and then you give it what you're actually switching based off of. So we're going to switch off of whatever num1 is. And so now we just write cases. So case 0. And so this is if num1 is 0, this is the code we're going to write. Console.writeLine num1 is 0. So quite boring. The key thing that you have to do is you have to put a break there. That tells it that we are done with this case. Don't execute any other cases. So this would be equivalent to saying if num1 is equal 0, then we do this and we just break out of it. This case, let's just say 42. So this is else if num1 is equal to 42, console.writeLine, curly brace, num1 is 42. So, and then we need a break at the end. So this is equivalent to saying if num1 is equal 0, do this, else if num1 equal 42, do this, and then we break out. The final thing you might want to have is a default case. So this is equivalent to saying else. So this is if this is not true and this is not true, then do this. And so in this, we can go ahead and say console.writeLine, and we'll just say curly brace num1 is not 0 or 42. So this is just saying that, hey, this number is not 0 or 42. These two do not evaluate to true. Now the key thing that you have to do here, which you do not have to do in other languages, is you have to put a break in your default. And in fact, in C#, if you have any lines in a case, you always have to put a break there. In C++, you could write code like this, to where it evaluates this case, does that, and then it just automatically falls through to the second case. So in C++, if num1 was equal to 0, it would actually print out 0 is 0, and then it would print out 0 is 42, because we do not have a break there. C# is a safer version of this to where it will not even compile unless you put a break at every single case if you have some line in there. And that holds true for default, because unlike C++, this default can live up here. If I can copy and paste this correctly, this default can live up here. And what it will do is it kind of evaluates these in any order, and that default will still apply. It does not have to be at the end. The trade-off is you have to have that break there. Now I will always put my default at the end just because, well, that makes a lot more sense to me. Why would you have default at the top? To me, this is the same as an else. But now this default, because you have a line in there, you have to have a break. So let's go ahead and run this. Let's go ahead and 42. 42 is 42. Let's go ahead and run it again and enter, I don't know, 84. 84 is not 0 or 42. So notice that because I entered a value which was not 0 or a value which was not 42, then it fell through to here. Let's say, for instance, you want this to only have a case to where is 42 or 0. So you could change this to, if case is 0, case num is 42 or 0. And then down here at case 42 is 42 or 0. But you could do this. And now if either one of these is true, so if the number is 0, then it will go into here. If the number is 42, it will go into here. This does not require a break there because, well, you aren't breaking out of the cases. So let's go ahead and run this. 42. 42 is 42 or 0. Let's go ahead and run it again. 0. 0 is 42 or 0. And if we enter any other number, negative 84 is not 0 or 42. So notice that it is either one of those will enter into this code block. And in fact, we can do the same thing. We can say case negative 42, console.writeLine, and we'll just say num1 is negative 42. And then we make sure we put a break at the end. So now we're actually, if it is a 0 or a 42, it will do that. If it is a negative 42, it will do that. The default is it will do that. So 42, 42 is 42 or 0. Run this again. Negative 42 is negative 42. So those are the switches that you have. Now, this is a lot more flexible. So what can you actually switch on? Well, let's go ahead and change this slightly. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. And instead of a number, let's go ahead and create a string. And I'll just say hat color. So let's go ahead and create a string, hat color, and then instead of please enter a whole number, let's go ahead and please enter a hat color. And let's go ahead and comment that out and just hat color is equal to console.readLine. And here we just switch on hat color. So notice that, first off, it's not complaining about putting a string in there. This is different than C++ and some other languages. In C++, if you wanted to switch on a string, you would have to build an enumerated type. And you would have to switch on that enumeration, basically making a mapping between strings and numbers. In C#, you don't have to do that. Now we can say case, let's go ahead and choose a hat color, red. Console.writeLine, and we'll just say you have a cool red hat. Break. Now let's say if it's a case white, console.writeLine, your white hat should keep your head cool, and break. And we'll just do case none. And we'll just say console.writeLine, you should really get a, or should really wear a hat. Oops. And break. So now, when we run this, please enter a hat color, red. You have a cool red hat, which, well, I don't have a cool red hat on, but if I did have a cool red hat, then it would be a cool red hat. Whereas if I do none, you should really wear a hat. Notice that this, we can put any string in there to switch it against, and it will evaluate the same as if it was an integer.